Welcome to an all-new ShaunsTake special, covering the rather unpredictable free agency of Jameis Winston. For NFL franchises this offseason, Jameis Winston is like picking last in a white elephant gift exchange. You could get the best gift in the whole pot, or you could be walking home with something you'll throw away as soon as you get back to your house. On one hand, you have a quarterback who has the talent to be a future Hall of Famer in the NFL. On the other, you have a headache for a franchise, and his career has been plagued by turnovers. While looking at Winston's free agency, it's a very complicated subject at hand. There's no leads on where he'll end up. The Buccaneers haven't had great reviews on him, and it's unsure if Bruce Arians wants to move on to a different quarterback next offseason. It seems like they've already eliminated using the franchise tag on Winston, which isn't a good sign for his future in Tampa Bay. When we look at Winston's free agency, he's lower down on the quarterback rankings on who will be signed in an order heading into free agency. We'll assume that Dak Prescott and Drew Brees return to the Cowboys and Saints, but then Winston will have to wait for Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Teddy Bridgewater, Ryan Tannehill, and maybe even Marcus Mariota before he garners serious interest on the free agent market. And that's not even to mention that Cam Newton and Andy Dalton may be on the trading block, putting Winston further down on the quarterback totem pole. On top of that, we have Tua Tagovailoa, Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert, who will all be picked top 10 of next year's draft, basically eliminating 3 more teams from the Jameis Winston sweepstakes. Teams that are in play. Now, the teams I'm going to name right now aren't necessarily teams that I believe will be interested in Winston, but these are teams who need a quarterback in the offseason. The locks to pick one in the draft right now are the Bengals and Dolphins. No questions asked. They'll get their future signal caller in the draft in April. Free agency chances, the Los Angeles Chargers. It seems most likely the Chargers are even going for Tom Brady or trading up and getting someone in the draft unless a quarterback falls to them. So that's a pretty easy elimination right there. But Winston in LA would kind of make sense. If his turnovers do go down as you would expect they do, throwing 30 picks in a year isn't something that anyone should really be able to repeat. You kind of have to try to go for that one. The Chargers aren't a bad fit for him. It could bring some excitement to the LA offense. They do need more ticket sales, and Winston, when playing well, can put people in seats for sure. The Indianapolis Colts are an intriguing option. Depending on what happens in free agency, it doesn't look like Tom Brady will go there. So do they turn to a Teddy Bridgewater, or is Winston someone who may fall to them and be a diamond in the rough for the Indianapolis Colts? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, unless something else happens and Bruce Arians does decide he wants another go with Jameis Winston, it doesn't look like Winston will be returning to Tampa, but he is probably the best fit. The Buccaneers are his best fit in the free agent market, but that relationship may already be over. And then the Tennessee Titans does not make any sense. It seems like if it's not Tom Brady, why would they not just re-sign Ryan Tannehill, who had an amazing run for them last offseason? Now, a couple of dark horses in the mix that potentially could be in for Jameis Winston. The Carolina Panthers. If Cam Newton is indeed traded and the Panthers do not feel like there's a guy in the draft they really want, would Jameis Winston make sense there? It's a different type of relationship that he would have with the Panthers. Cam Newton was a big play quarterback. Winston's a big play quarterback. Do they want sort of a similar style of a boom or bust quarterback, or do they want someone who's going to be more consistent, more surefire thing, which they could find through a Teddy Bridgewater, or just turning the page with a new coaching staff and taking someone in the draft? The New England Patriots, if Tom Brady does leave, there is no plan in place right now for the Patriots to have a solidified starter going into next year. There's been trade rumors for Andy Dalton going to New England. Of course they're going to draft somebody, but unless they do a massive trade-up, they're not getting one of the top signal callers in the draft. So Jameis Winston, the Patriots honestly could be one of the perfect fits for him. Bill Belichick will not, and Josh McDaniels will not put up with turnovers. They played with Brady for years, never had a turnover-driven quarterback. So they may be able to coach the turnovers out of Winston and give him a really, cultured place to play in with a lot of structure, limiting the distractions for him and really getting down to work. And they could really up his completion percentage, play it a little bit more safe, rely on the running game more, and, still let Winston throw the ball, give him some weapons. It could be an interesting fit in New England for Jameis Winston. So I would keep an eye on that one. That's something I would really like to see. I think that's one of the better options for New England going into this offseason without a solidified plan in place if Tom Brady does leave. So keep an eye on Jameis Winston. The Patriots would be very interesting, very good for the NFL. And it's a guy who could really take off in New England. That could be the ascending point of his career, the turning point for him. And he may be able to take off towards stardom in New England at a consistent rate. And then I saw a thing on the Chicago Bears the other day. They obviously have Mitchell Trubisky, who they did say would be their starter going into next year, but that does not mean that the Bears have not been looking for replacement quarterbacks. They're not 100% sold on Trubisky, and if they bring in Winston, if Winston were to give the same type of production, same type of ballpark of production, not expecting 5,000 yards and 33 touchdowns, but something, within 4,000 and 25 touchdowns, if he could put that in Chicago with halving the turnovers to 15, with the Bears defense, they could be right back in contention. So keep an eye. I doubt that's not a likely scenario, but if the Bears do feel like they need a quarterback change and they need a spark, Jameis Winston could be the option in Chicago. We're going to see what happens with Jameis Winston this free agency. There is nothing, that we can say with confidence right now on where Jameis Winston will end up. But really, the one I would like to see is him in New England. It'd be a great new era for the New England Patriots, a great new chapter for Jameis Winston's story. So we're going to see what happens, but it's definitely going to be an interesting time when free agency does hit. Until next time, we'll see you back here on ShaunsTake.